Hi, my name's Elizabeth Boyle, and I'm going to read a passage from my book, Fierce Appetites. In February, I begin teaching my undergraduate course on visions of and voyages to supernatural places in medieval Irish literature. I give a couple of lectures on the Middle Irish story, The Voyage of Doon, which is about the search for justification, the desire for vengeance, and the need for forgiveness. It is also about the way families can be configured. The main character is a child born of rape. Doon's biological mother was a prioress, his father a violent warrior who, in the course of raiding in another kingdom, attacked a community of nuns, grabbing the prioress's hand as she went to strike the bell, forcing her to the ground and violating her. 9 months later, the prioress gives birth to a son, Doon. She gives the baby boy secretly to her friend, the Queen, who raises Doon as her own child and tries to convince people that she is his biological mother. He is reared as a royal son, and he flourishes and excels in all things. He is beautiful and skilled and talented. Too much so. In a fit of jealousy at Doon's superior skills, another boy reveals to him that his parentage is unknown. The author writes that Doon fell silent because until then he had thought he was the son of the king and queen. Doon confronts his adoptive mother and demands to know the identity of his biological parents. And the queen replies, telling him not to listen to the wounding words of other boys. She says to him, "Mesa do Vata, I am your mother," and she tells him that no one has a greater love for their child than she does for him. I think that Doon's silence, as he realizes that the king and queen are not his biological parents, and his adoptive mother's simple declaration, "I am your mother," are among the most powerful moments in medieval Irish literature. You can feel his world crumble as his family life is shown to be built on a shameful secret, and you can feel her world fall apart as he rejects her love in that moment and insists on knowing his biological parentage. In a timeless act of selflessness, his adoptive mother personally takes him to meet his biological mother. The author's sensitivity to the complexities of identity and parenthood, the drive to know one's biological origins, the deep love an adoptive mother has for her child is remarkable. Doon talks with his biological mother, and although his biological father has died some years previously, he travels to his father's territory and meets his paternal king, who all seem to be much nicer than the douchebag rapist dad. Doon becomes convinced that he needs to find the man who killed his father and avenge his father's death, which is precisely the crazy sort of thing people do when they have difficult and complicated relationships with their birth parents. So he sets off on the voyage from which the story gets its title. He encounters all sorts of wondrous islands and marvellous supernatural phenomena during his voyage, escapes from various tricky situations, and comes across a lot of strange religious people. Doon's voyage is one of self-discovery too, the journey as a kind of working out of one's issues, a search for redemption. At the end, he learns that he would be better off forgiving the man who killed his biological father than perpetuating the cycle of violence. An ancient hermit, clothed only in his own long grey hair, tells Doon that forgiveness is better than vengeance, because we are all flawed in our own ways, all of us in need of absolution for something or other. Doon returns home to tell everyone about the things he has experienced and learned. The author doesn't tell us whether his adoptive parents were there to welcome him home. We do not know whether his journey of redemption also led him to understand how fortunate he was to have been so loved by the king and queen, whether he came to realize that a chosen family can be stronger, more loving and more secure than a biological one. The author of the tale ends by citing the famous line from Virgil's Aeneid, "Hec olim meminisse juvabit." One day we'll look back on this and smile. Maybe one day I'll look back on all this and smile.